So, it's patch day for Battlefield 1. What have DICE done to improve the game? What have they changed? And more importantly, I think, what have they added? Well, I've got the full list of patch notes here, and we're going to be diving into some of that later on in the video. But first of all, let's look at some of the more obvious changes. Perhaps the ones that people expected, or the ones that they really wanted. First up, I can confirm the Suez map did indeed get its flags increased from 3 to 5, and that incorporates much more of the map now, but it does keep that linear layout. If you've played the map on Rush or Operations, then you'll recognise all of the locations of each flag now being separated really into its own little sector. Adding these extra 2 flags not only gives us back the more traditional Conquest format, but it also helps reduce the massive amount of games that would simply end up as a triple flag cap for one of the teams. When that happens, the teams with all the flags would get a huge increase in the speed of their score, meaning they can get to the end of the round in a matter of minutes. And it almost ruined the entire game mode. So it's nice to see DICE have stuck to their word here, added those 2 extra flags, and it really balances out the map now to be a proper Conquest map. It does make me wonder, however, if DICE had this 5-flag version already made pre-release of Battlefield 1. They've made this change very quickly based on community feedback. Perhaps they foresaw the backlash surrounding the map and they had this backup version ready to go. I guess we'll never really know, but it is nice now that the map is more in line with the rest of them in the game. Definitely feels more like a Conquest map and not just 64-man team deathmatch. Next, we have soldier customization in the main menus. This is a feature that's been requested pretty much since day one, and it infuriated a lot of people who had to join servers in order to manage their loadouts, or they had to use the companion app. Now, DICE did say this feature was disabled for the launch, as it wasn't working as intended, and they removed it as well to ensure the rest of the features in the game did work correctly. But it's nice to see that they've now added it back in. This feature is essentially the customized screen from multiplayer, so you'll know how it's going to work straight away, and now it means you have a little bit more freedom to create something that you want in your loadout, rather than worrying about the time that it takes you to create something in a server, and how that might affect the game that you're in that's going on in the background. Vehicle customization hasn't been added in this patch, however, and that will be a disappointment to some people, but DICE developer Eric Ortman has confirmed it needed a little bit more work before it could be deployed into the game, and we can expect to see that in another update in the near future. Options to rent your own custom servers are now available in Battlefield 1, along with the ability to create custom games as well. These custom games will be servers where owners have changed some of the fundamental elements of the standard DICE-approved Battlefield 1 experience, and they'll be available for players to find within the menu. Now, pricing for PC and console on these rental servers is different, so just because your friends on PS4 have got a different price to you on PC, that's just something we're going to have to deal with, but at least the option for us to buy our own servers is now available in Battlefield 1, and people can start to experiment with some of the settings that we've got available. And the operations have seen a couple of tweaks as well, mainly around the ticket counts for the different waves of attackers. For 64-player servers, or Grand Operations as they're called, the ticket count is now 250 per battalion, and for your 40-player servers, Standard Operations, it's 200. DICE had a lot of data suggesting that attackers just simply weren't finishing the operations because they didn't have enough reinforcements. If you think about it, they've got to get through 5 or 6 sectors per map in some cases, and with the amount of tickets that we had before, that wasn't really possible. Nothing has been done to the behemoths on the mode yet, but really DICE want to measure what kind of impact this increase in tickets is going to have. But one final change for operations overall, they've slightly reduced the time that it takes for you to capture a flag. Again, that's another buff for the attackers, and that should hopefully stop the defenders running around simply taking the flag that's only just been taken by the attackers. So those are some of the bigger overhead changes, and we're going to move into some of the weapons now. DICE have made a few changes here, mainly based on community feedback. Now, overall, I think a lot of us will be in agreement that the support weapons weren't really very good in comparison to the other classes. And so DICE have given the LMGs a few buffs across the board, and I think that will make people happy in general. I know there are some people out there that felt the LMGs were fine, but the overall feeling seemed to be that the LMGs just weren't as fun to use as the weapons in other classes. So first of all, LMGs and self-loading rifles, those are the medic weapons, will now deal more suppression at medium range. They will have better aimed accuracy for all support machine guns. That's across the board. They've decreased the Lewis gun and the Hewitt's first shot recoil multiplier, so they don't kick as much when you start firing. They've increased the BAR's horizontal recoil, and they've made all the low weight variants of all of the LMGs gain accuracy faster when you're firing. And that's to give them a bit of a one-up over the Storm variants. Because those Storm variants had a grip attached to them, that meant they could control their recoil better. So to make the low weight variants a little bit more attractive as well, all of them now have bipods. And in a sneaky ninja update that wasn't mentioned in the patch notes, the Mars Auto Pistol got a damage buff, pushing the maximum damage from 38 to 40, which makes the weapon even more powerful. I can hear the scouts rejoicing off in the distance. Interesting to note that DICE didn't put that in their own patch notes, and I found that out on Simthic.com. Gadgets now, and I've got two interesting ones here for the support class. First of all, the limpet mine on the support class has been changed, so they cannot be exploded by anybody before the timer. They now only explode after the timer is up, and any kills will be credited to the person who laid down the mine. This is to stop other players shooting the limpet mine and nicking a kill off of somebody else. The mortars, which I think have divided opinion, now have a small cooldown period after they've been fired before they will become accurate again. This means the mortar can still be spammed, but each shell will become increasingly inaccurate. If you wait for that cooldown period to finish and then fire again, your shot will land close to where you aimed. The damage radius for the airburst mortar has been reduced now. You'll need to land the shell very close to your target to do the full 65 damage. The targeting function for the mortar now shows the current accuracy level of the strike. The red dot only appears when the strike is at maximum accuracy, and both mortars can now fire 2 smoke rounds in addition to their default round as well. A hint has been added in-game that explains that feature to the player. So lots of changes here to the mortar overall. Do you think they're good, or do you think they're bad? I know a lot of people really don't like the mortar as it currently was in Battlefield 1, and a lot of these changes address some of those concerns. But are you one of those people who didn't really mind the mortar all that much, and some of these changes are going to affect how you play the game? You're going to have to let me know down in the comments. Some smaller notes that I've picked out now. DICE have added XP boosts back into Battlefield 1. This time they come in the form of Squad XP. These boosts can be obtained from battle packs right now, and they fall into the same category as the puzzle pieces, being an extra bonus drop that you might get the chance of getting. These boosts can last an hour in game, and they give you a 100% boost on the XP of your entire squad through that round. At the moment, it's not clear if these can be stacked, with more than one player per squad having it active, but I doubt that will be the case. Something else to look forward to in those random battle pack openings, I guess. Squad leaders can now be replaced if they do not respond to a request for an order from a squad member. If you ask the leader for an order and within a minute they don't reply to you, you will be promoted to squad leader and take their place to direct the action for your squad. This was a feature that's missing from Battlefield 1, but it was in Battlefield 4. So it's really nice to see that DICE got that in quick in the first patch. And to finish off the video, some more random changes from the massive list. The repair tool can now damage the fortress gun, which are those massive round cannon things on the 2 Italian maps, Mont Grappa and Empire's Edge. The default player count on operations in the menu is now set to 40, not 64. If you prefer the larger mode, then you'll need to select it manually down in the bottom left-hand corner. And finally, something to make everyone happy, the quit button is now available at any point during the end of round screen. Yippee. There are hundreds, and I mean hundreds more changes in the patch notes, and you can find those linked in the description. DICE have done a lot of work already to improve Battlefield 1, and this first patch seems to have addressed a lot of our concerns. That's it, I'm done talking, I'm not going to carry on now. Let me know what you think of these changes down below in the comments. I'm always down there reading as many as I can, and in a patch video like this one, I really do want to get your opinions. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.